Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I was just thinking, who was that was talking about Money Monday? Was that Lovejoy? Somebody in this group was talking about Money Monday. Anyway, remind me who that was. So it's Money Monday. Today is the 24th day of January. This is episode 16 of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. Season 3 is about practical advice that I hope is useful. And HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. Helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I am a professional creative and the creator of what we're now calling the HERO Ministry Movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire people. It started with the unhoused community and has expanded beyond the unhoused community, although it still includes the unhoused community. So that's what the HERO Ministry Movement is, and it's growing by leaps and bounds every day. So quick disclaimer, I am not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor. I can't talk today. Nor am I a financial advisor. So do your own due diligence, do your own homework, and check me out here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. And if this show provides any value to you, if you learn anything, if it helps you grow in any way, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, spreading the word, making a donation, all those good things. And all the information for that is in the show notes just beneath the show. Okay, so let's jump right into the HERO Ministry Movement's news. That said, while I do that, let me shout out the Doing hoodie. I've been rocking the Doing hoodie in deference to the fact that this is the Doing season. It's the season of Doing, and it's the Doing season on the show. I like that. I didn't think about that before the show. Anyway, shout out to the people who are watching live. Shout out to Gladys. Shout out to Nan. Happy Monday. Shout out to Tim with the water and the coffee. Funny story, Tim. I'm going to limit my sidebars, but so I told you I've been leaving the water in the car, right? Well, it's been like 20 degrees, 19 degrees, 14 degrees. And so I was trying to drink the water after I finished my run, and it was frozen. It was frozen. One time it was frozen solid. I couldn't get any water. And the other time it had frozen into like these little crystalline shards. They weren't sharp, but it was just a surprise. I took a sip from the straw and I was like, because all these pieces of ice were in my mouth. So anyway, I got to come up with a better plan, or just be mindful about the temperature. Much warmer today. Not warm, but much warmer today. So I drank my water in the car and it was not icy. All right. So, morning, Linda. Thanks for checking in live. Okay, so let's continue HERO Ministry Movement news. I like to do it first, get it out the way. So today is day 238 of my run streak. That means I've been running every day, at least a mile a day, for now 238 days in a row. And we've got a new charity run. This is my third charity run. I was about to recap the other two, but I don't want to sidebar too much. So this is my third charity run. This is in honor of Mr. Charles. I've told the story about Mr. Charles a few times, but just briefly, I discovered Mr. Charles when I was out running when it had snowed here in Nashville. It was like 7 inches, like it was a lot of snow. He'd fallen in the snow. I helped him, and I got the fire department involved and all of that. So he's in the hospital with a broken foot, and my intention is to dedicate my next 100 miles of my run streak to Mr. Charles, and in that time, raise $1,000. So that'll take me from about 650 miles to about 750 miles in terms of adding another 100. And hopefully by that time, we will have raised $1,000. Again, shout out to Nan for being the first person to donate. I appreciate you. If anyone's interested, just go to my website, sekouwrites.com, and it's right there on the homepage. It says Charity Run. It'll take you to GoFundMe, and you can make a donation of any amount. And I just said that. The platform is GoFundMe this time, not Pledge It. So we're not pledging per mile. We're just making a donation of whatever amount you wish. So please help me help Mr. Charles get back on his feet. I'd appreciate it. The idea in my head is to, at some point, go over there and gift him with this money as an unexpected surprise, having come home from the hospital. Anyway, I'm excited about it. And I announced it on social media. I doubled down on it on social media in my run report today. So go check out my run report, which is on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. All right, moving on. So I just started training for a half marathon. So I'm excited about that. I should have given myself a drum roll, but I'm excited about that. Or fireworks. Fireworks would have been better. Anyway, I said over the weekend, if you followed my run reports, that I was training for a marathon. And that was my intention. Because my thought was, very briefly, sidebarring a lot this morning, and I know that means trouble later on, so let me tighten this up. So briefly, I have run 10 miles before, and a half marathon is 13. So I'm thinking, well, it's only 3 more miles. But the trainers suggested that I train for the half marathon and then train for the full marathon, because there's no telling what I will learn in the process of training. Because all the running I've done thus far has been without training. I've just been doing it. So I appreciate that insight. And so I'm now officially training for a half marathon. Training started on Saturday. And there's a funny story about that in my run report. So check out the run report for Saturday. Yeah, go check that out. So today, Monday, is day 3 of half marathon training. Here we go. There's also a charity component involved. There's actually 2 charity components involved in the half marathon training. I'll talk about that more soon come. All right, moving on. I want to mention a couple of things that have been happening in the comments. The comments have been really great recently. Thanks so much for giving me stuff to respond to. So first of all, more people are joining the 30-day challenge. It's like the people who are in the Doing group, the Doing Facebook group, have been inspired by the people who are in the Doing group who are talking about the 30-day challenge. And so we've got some more people who spontaneously joined over the weekend. So excited about that. Tim, you gave me a really good idea in the comments recently. You said that people ought to have a 30-day challenge like every 30 days. I was like, that's a really good idea. So I think I am going to try that. I'm going to stack my 30-day challenges. So I've got the run streak locked in, like it's in my DNA. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it's locked in for me here. So I'm adding, my intention is to add things to it and stack on and stack on and stack on throughout the year and see what else I can accomplish in these little 30-day snippets of time. So I invite you to do that if you're interested. Also, man, you co-signed my story about the neighbor walking her dog. And I appreciate that, because that story really stuck with me. It really resonated with me. And I've been thinking about it more and more. And it really boils down to, it's just mindset. It's just mindset. It's just how you view the world. And my definition of mindset is viewing the same set of circumstances differently. The world hasn't changed. The circumstances haven't changed, but the way you view them has changed. That's my definition of mindset. So I don't want to sidebar too much, but I really appreciate that lesson that I learned from her walking her dog in the cold weather. And it reminded me of so many other lessons that I've learned from myself. And again, it's all about mindset. It's all about shifting how you see the same set of circumstances. Okay, I might come back to that. I might come back several times over the course of the season, because it reminds me of a story from season 1 that I'm dying to tell, but there's so much I want to get to in this episode. So I'm not going to do it right now, but I might circle back. All right, so this is the last day of anniversary week. If you've been following along, we've been celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Living Life in Joy. On Sunday, we played a best of episode with Lindsay. Shout out to Lindsay. And today we're doing a recap. Well, not a recap. I want to call it a sip of a sip, but it's not really that. It's a sip of a sermon. This is Rev Mel's sermon, a recent sermon from Centers for Spiritual Living, Rockland County. So I was actually able to watch this sermon live. It's a really good one. You're going to enjoy it. So check it out. That'll be today at 10:30 Eastern time. So check that out. And then tomorrow she's back live for Sit with Rev Melissa. Okay, just want to get all that clear. More news. I mentioned that I did a podcast with Regina Smithwick. Regina has appeared on Living Life in Joy. Oh, matter of fact, we played that episode last week. So you will remember who she is because we played that episode recently. I have appeared on her podcast before to talk about the Hero Ministry Movement. And this time I talked about Get Rich 101. So shout out to Regina. I'm mentioning it now because I published my podcast of her podcast on Saturday. So that means that you can go to the Sekouwrites podcast and you can listen to our full interview. So the interview is about an hour, and you can just go to Sekouwrites podcast on any podcasting platforms. I usually use anchor.fm. But anyway, you can go to any podcasting platform and listen to the whole interview of me and Regina Smithwick. Also, shout out to her for this book. This is Powerful Podcast Journal. I'm trying to read it backwards. Powerful Podcast Journal. I am going to use this, the way it's intended to be used is for keeping track of who's upcoming on your podcast. Just keeping track of the guest, the host, contact information, the topics that you're going to discuss. I'm actually going to use this in past tense. So this will definitely help keep me organized about who, not necessarily who was on the podcast, because usually it's just me in terms of this show, but what I talked about and what date, so that I can refer back and I can know, where I was. So not only for this show, the Be Your Own Hero show, but also for my 2 podcasts, because it's a lot to keep track of. Speaking of which, not only did I drop a new episode for the Sekouwrites podcast on Saturday, I also dropped a new episode of my Get Rich 101 podcast on Saturday. So season 1 was all about me reading The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. That is the entirety of season 1. And then season 2, I'm repurposing some of the content from this show over there because it's all about abundance. It's all about, as the name implies, getting rich. So I'm posting my Tip Tuesday shows. I don't even know if you guys remember that, but I used to do Tip Tuesday during season 1. So I'm posting those over on my podcast, and then eventually I'll repurpose this content too, because it's all about wealth and abundance. And now we're talking about more practical steps to being wealthy. So all that said, go check out my 2 podcasts, Get Rich 101 and Get Rich 101, which is about the science of getting rich, and the Sekouwrites podcast. There are new episodes up for both podcasts. I need to bring my commercial back. This would be a nice place to play my commercial. I'll do that soon. Okay, so envelope challenge. We've got a few more people that have joined, which is great. And also, Nan, you made a comment about if you put it in a savings account, it automatically starts collecting interest. And testament to my new mindset, I automatically thought, but how much is the interest? And so then that inspired me to Google, what is the average interest for a savings account? Average interest is 0.06%, which sounds even crazier now that we're in the space of investing, right? 0.06%. And that reminded me, I have said this many times, my research has shown that brokerage accounts give you interest for your cash balance. Now, I've said that many times. I've heard other people talk about it. I know Wall Street Trapper, I think he said he gets 3% interest for his resting cash balance in his brokerage account. 3%, which is a lot more than 0.06%. So that said, I've heard about it, but I haven't tried it for myself. So what my intention is for, my new intention for the envelope challenge is to accumulate money up until a certain amount in a savings account and then move that money over into a brokerage account and leave it there as cash and see what kind of interest I get. Because Wall Street Trapper has millions of dollars, so it might be predetermined by how much money you put in. So I'm gonna put in a couple $100 and see what happens in terms of getting interest. And if that works, then that's what I will do ongoing. I will use the envelope challenge to stack up a little piece of money and then move that money over into a brokerage account and let it accumulate more interest there. And theoretically, it should accumulate more than 0.06% interest. So I'll keep you posted, but also you might want to try that yourself. Because as we now know, savings accounts are not the place to put money long term. Okay. Moving on. So, I think I got everything. I think I got everything in terms of the news. Good, I'm on track. So 10 o'clock, those of you just tuning in, the show starts at 9:45 now. It has been expanded to a half hour. So tune in a little bit earlier at 9:45 Eastern time. If you missed it, you can watch the replay on Facebook and on YouTube, both New Thought Media Network and my Facebook and my YouTube. If you watch on my YouTube, please like and subscribe and turn on the bell notification for new episodes. Yes, because I'm posting there 5 days a week, lots of content up there. Okay, so moving right along into Morning Zen. So as you know, I've been doing the 30-day mental diet class, and I've been reading the 30-day mental diet just about every day. And every day, I missed one day. I've been reading it every day, but I missed one day. So I'm going to read a little bit of today's reading from the 30-day mental diet, if everything cooperates. Getting a couple messages over here. Okay, there we go. So for me, this is day 18. The theme for today is learn to like yourself. Learn to like yourself. I wrote down a lot of things from this day, and maybe I'll run through it once. And then I'm going to circle back to what I really want to talk about today. All right, so reading from 30-day mental diet, learn to like yourself. Most people seem to have a perverse streak running through them that insists on emphasizing what they are not rather than what they are. They seem to dwell on their shortcomings, deficiencies, faults, and guilt. Remember, what you emphasize in your thinking tends to increase it. So don't increase your deficiencies, your faults, your shortcomings. All right, continuing the reading. There is no person who cannot find within himself some good qualities in which he or she might excel. No, you are not perfect, nor could anyone ever hope to be, but that is no reason for you to concentrate on the negative rather than the positive qualities you possess. So you're not perfect, but that's no reason for you to concentrate on the negative rather than the positive qualities you possess. And the last little bit I wrote down is very few people have the courage to honestly evaluate the opinion they have of themselves. Very few people have the courage to honestly evaluate the opinion they have of themselves. So get in the mirror, do some mirror work. Okay. Moving on to finance, abundance, wealth. Let's get to it. Let's do our affirmation really quick. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. I'm only going to do it one time because I want to get to this story. So this is what happened. On Friday, I was talking about trading, and I was very excited, ran over time. And this weekend, I was thinking, I need to get a notebook and start writing this information down. So I figured, all right, let me find one in the house. So I'm searching around the house. I see all these notebooks, but they all have things in them. I found a notebook that's shaped to look like a $100 bill. And I was like, oh, that's the notebook right there. That's the notebook. So I get the notebook, and I think it's empty at first, but then I noticed that there's a couple pages that have been filled in, not in my handwriting. And there's a note that's dated 2006, and it's a list of stocks to invest in. And I got fascinated. And so I went down the rabbit hole. What I did is I went and bought my own notebook, my own money green composition book from CVS. And then I started writing in this notebook about what I found in the other notebook, meaning I started writing about those stocks. So I picked 3 of the stocks, not all 6, but 3 of them. And I did some research. So going to the book, one of the stocks was Starbucks, right? So in 2006, when the note was written, Starbucks stock was trading at $16 per share. 16 bucks. There's some drinks at Starbucks that cost 16 bucks. Just imagine. Okay, sorry. All right. 16 bucks in 2006. Right now, in 2022, it's trading at about $96 per share. That's an increase of 600%. 600% over 15 years, right? I got so many things going on in my head, but imagine how many dollars have you spent at Starbucks? All of us, right? You could have bought a share for less than 20 bucks in 2006. And in 2022, it would be worth almost 100 bucks versus 0.06% in savings. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so next one I looked up was Microsoft, right? So Microsoft in 2006 was trading at $28 per share. 30 bucks, not even 30 bucks. And in 2022, it's currently trading at 296. Let's just call that 300. You spend $30 and you get $300. That's not even including dividends. That's just appreciation. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean. I am not including dividends in that number. And the DRIP, the dividend reinvestment. Anyway, from $30 to $300. And the last one I looked up was Home Depot. In 2006, Home Depot was trading at $40 per share. 40 bucks. These are very accessible numbers. And now, right now in 2022, 350 bucks. So you could have spent 40 bucks to get 350, right? And so then I went all the way down the rabbit hole. I was like, well, what's a reasonable amount to spend for a newbie in the stock market? And I figured around 200 bucks or so, right? So what I did is I calculated 10 shares of Starbucks at 16 bucks, that's $160. Multiply that by 600%, you get 960 bucks. So you could have spent $160 in 2006 and you'd have almost $1,000 now. What? Right? Savings accounts don't even make sense. This is the savings account. Okay, all right. Anyway, Microsoft. 10 shares of Microsoft at 28 gives you $280 times 600%, 1,680. Let's just call it 1,700. Right? Spend $300 to make 1,700. In the last example, Home Depot, we spend $400 to buy 10 shares of Home Depot at $40 a pop, times 600%, $2,400. So I added it all up. So in 2006, if you would spend $840 in the stock market on these three stocks, and $840 is not a small amount of money, but it's not huge. Like it's recoverable. So $840, if you spent that in the stock market on these three stocks to buy 10 shares of each in 2006, you would have $5,040 now. Less than $1,000 to make $5,000. Then I went all the way down the rabbit hole. I was like, all right, so what if I do the 0.06%? What if I do the side-by-side comparison? So if I'm doing the math right, the 0.06% will earn you over 15 years about $7.50. $7.50. My alarm's going off. But $7.50. And then I was like, well, let me try to calculate for inflation. I've never calculated for inflation before in my life. So I don't know if I got it right. But if I got it right, this is the deal. So of the $5,040, you have to deduct about $2,000. So you end up with $3,125. Let's just round it down to $3,000, right? So of the $5,000, you deduct for inflation, you end up with $3,000. But you still spent $840 and you ended up with $3,000, right? On the other side, if you'd put that $840 in a savings account and just left it there, you would have gained $750, but deducting for inflation, you would have lost $300. You'd have a value total of $500. Meaning, obviously, your bank account is still going to say $840, but it will only buy you $500 worth of goods and services because of inflation. The price of goods and services have risen in those 15 years. So your $840 will only be worth $500. So on one hand, you've lost $300 in value. On the other hand, you've gained $3,000 in investment money. What? And they always promote it as such a gamble, right? Like the stock market is such a gamble. It's so dangerous. It's so iffy. Did you hear those numbers? I mean, all right. This is just really exciting to me. And this is just basic stuff. Because then I went back and I applied this to trading, right? I applied this to trading. So what did we just say? Over 15 years, these three stocks accumulated about $600, grew about 600%, right? They grew about 600%. Then I went over to trading, which is even presented as even scarier, right? They always present trading as even scarier. I was scared when I first tried it, but it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that difficult. So anyway, I applied the trading principle. Check this out. Check this out. So I went to Wayfair, that company that I mentioned on Friday. Wayfair is a furniture company online, right? So in January of 2020, Wayfair was trading at $106 per share. Business as usual. But that was the beginning of the pandemic. There was rumblings, right? That was January of 2020. And then by March 2020, it exploded, right? Quarantine, all the things, March of 2020. By August of 2020, the same year, Wayfair stock was trading at $340 per share. It jumped from $106 to $340 per share within 7 months. That's a gain of 220%. So if you had bought, let's say, 3 shares of Wayfair in January of 2020 at $318, that money would have been worth around $700 7 months later. So 220% in 7 months. This is the point I'm making. 220% is a lot. That's a third of what we just talked about, a third of 600%. So it took 15 years to accumulate 600% return, but only 7 months to accumulate a 220% return. So theoretically, 7, 14, 21, in 21 months, you could make the same kind of return trading that you could in buy and hold stock investing. What? That's crazy, right? Like, all of it's crazy. All of it's crazy. It's so magical and mystical and mysterious, and all this information is just hiding in plain sight. But clearly, you can make significant amounts of money just by investing, buy and hold, buy a stock and hold it forever. But you can also make more money, apparently, by trading, by watching it and buying at a certain amount and selling at a certain amount. And we're not even talking about like day trading. Just buying in January and selling in August, you could have made 200% on your money. Okay, I'm out of time. I knew I was going to go over time today because I'm so excited about this. So I'm going to keep talking about this trading stuff, and I might keep looking at that notebook and going through the other stocks. But this is really groundbreaking information. I hope you guys are taking notes, because I certainly am. All right. Right now it's time for prayer time. I'm sorry, prayer time. I'm eating into your time. It's time for prayer time at 10:15. Circle back at 10:30 also for Sip with Rev Melissa. Again, we're doing a sip of a sermon per sermon at CSL. And check me out here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. All right, I see there's a bunch of comments. I will check them right after I close the show. Keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect. And I'll see you tomorrow. Later.